Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing football post and in routes. Now, I admit when I actually saw the title of the puzzle and, frankly, the grid of the puzzle, I was a little bit confused. And my kind of assumption about this, and I did a little bit of research to confirm, is it's probably about kind of tactics play in American football as opposed to, what the rest of the world would call football. And I imagine as soon as I bring up today's puzzle and I put up the grid, the 40% of you that are in the US that regularly visit this channel, you're probably going to recognize this pretty much straight away and say, yes, that is probably exactly what it means. Now, today's puzzle from Willpower looks fantastic. I normally, when I take a look at a puzzle, I have a bit of an inclination about how to start, and I haven't got a clue about this one, so I'm actually quite intrigued about what we have in store for today. But enough of the intro, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with football post and in routes by Willpower and the following set of rules. So yeah, immediately things I didn't recognize. That's definitely not a formation in traditional football. That looked like 7, 8, 9, 10 players rather than the normal 11. I guess positions about getting en route, maybe passing, like a quarterback. Many assumptions here, clearly. Rules-wise, we've got the following. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, if I can actually select one, and then every 3 by 3 box. Nothing unusual about that one. Then we've got, of course, the arrows. Numbers and arrows sum to the number in the arrow circle. And numbers may repeat on arrows if other rules are allowed. So essentially, these two cells are going to be like a couple of numbers, let's say 3 and 4. The sum of them has to be written inside the circle, 7. And that would be true for each one of these arrows. So whatever these cells are, they add up to a sum that was going to be inside the circle. The fact that you can repeat, these two cells, for example, could be the same. They're in different rows, columns, and boxes. We've got odds and evens. So cells with a grey shaded circle are odd, such as this one. This would have to be an odd digit, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, if I can type. And then cells with a grey shaded square are even, such as this one. 2, 4, 6, or 8 would be the even digits. Maximus, full shaded cells with arrows pointing outwards are greater than all the 4 orthogonally adjacent cells. So this cell, for example, clearly has like a greater than symbol pointing towards the 4 orthogonally adjacent cells. And essentially whatever this digit is, let's say it's a 4, the following 3 cells, 4 cells, have to be smaller than 4, so they would have to be 1, 2, or 3. Notice here it says greater than, not greater than or equal, which I guess is obvious with Sudoku. You can't have the same digit in the same row or column. Then last but not least, we've got KROPKIs. KROPKI pairs, numbers with a white dot between them are consecutive, essentially. So if this cell is 2, this would have to be 1 or 3 to make sure that these two cells are consecutive. And then numbers with a black dot between them are in a ratio of 2 to 1. So if this cell is 2, this would have to be 1 or 4 to make sure essentially one cell is double the other. Not all possible dots are shown. So a 2 in here with a 4, with a 3 and a 4, all of that would be allowed because even without black KROPKI dots or a white KROPKI dot, despite them being in a 2 to 1 ratio and in a consecutive set. That's all the rules we have for today. So as always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely sure what is going on here. And the main thing that probably catches my attention is just the sheer volume of clues that we have in these two rows. And most of it seems to be about odds and evens. So I am going to start with that, even though I'm not really sure how that's going to help us with the break-in just yet. So these all have to be even. I'm going to use blue for even, orange for odd. What I'm clearly doing here is essentially because these two cells, essentially the arrow is saying that whatever this cell is, it sums up to whatever's inside here. So these two digits are the same, these two are the same, etc., etc. The fact that they're consecutive makes sense. One of them is odd, one of them is even. Notice the black KROPKI dots. This cell is odd. When you think about the black KROPKI dot digits of 1, 2, 4, and 8, 3 and 6, the only odd digits are the 1 and 3. So this is 1 or 3, and then the double would be 2 or 6. So this is clearly even. This is a sum, so I need to have an even digit and then another even digit to be able to get to an even digit. It also tells me straight away that this cannot be a 2, because it would require a double 1 to be able to add up to 2, which A is not possible in one box, and B, they're both odd as opposed to the fact they're both even. So that's 6, that's 3, that's 3. These two cells are even and adding up to 6, so that has to be 2 and 4, and we have our break-in. We can lose these now. This cell here, even if I minimize everything on here, this will be 1, 2, 3. This will be another 1. This is at 7, 8, 9. The fact that I am going beyond 3 cells with this cell, I have to have a 1. If I go with 2, 3, 4 without a 1, that's already at 9. Plus a 1 in here, that's at 10. That's too big. This is probably more restricted than it may seem. I'm just having a think about this, because we know that one of this is even, one of them is odd. And if you think around the available digits, so 1 and 2 works, given the 3 and 6 are in here. 4 and 5 work. And then 8 with 7 and 9? Not brilliant. Actually, no, 8 and 7 and 9 doesn't. The reason is these 3 cells are telling me that this is at least 6, 7, 8, or 9, but 6 is not available. 1, 2, 3 being the minimum, actually 1, 2, 4 now being the minimum. That's at least 7. This is 7, 8, 9. So essentially, if I make this kind of 8, the neighbor would be 7 or 9, and then I end up with 4 cells from the digit 7, 8, or 9. That's impossible. So that is, that's not 6, that's 5. That is all the possible sets in here. Maybe in here. So essentially to get to 7, that would be 1, 2. That would be 4. Not possible. So I think 7 is also off the table. Remember that white KROPKI dot means that from a 1, 2, 4 set, these 2 cells have to be consecutive. The other possibility to get to 8, that is possible. 1, 2, and 5 to get to 8. 1, 3, 4 is not possible. And then to get to 9, 1, 2, and 6 is possible. Other options for 9, like 1, 3, 5, not available. And then 2, 3, 4. So that would be not available again because of the 3. So this is actually 1, 2 pair. That gives me a 4, that gives me a 2, that gives me a 4, a 4, a 5, a 5. All of that is suddenly resolved. Let's have a think. These 2 cells, they are not 3 or 5. They are 1, 7, or 9. Kind of find it difficult to believe that any of these... Let's have a think about it. Essentially, if this is a 1, one of these is going to be 7, 8, 9. Plausible. Not in here, is it? Yeah, possible. Because I know that's not 1 and it's not 2. It's actually or 3 or 4. In fact, that's quite a large digit. It's not 1. It's not 2. It's not 3. It's not 4. It's not 5. This is at least a 6. So it's kind of pointing to the fact that this has to be 1 or 2 from the available digits in here to be able to add to a single digit in there. Now, obviously, I've got a few more options than the 6 in here. I can probably go all the way up to 8, but this is restricted to 1 or 2 because 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all gone, and anything bigger than that, as in a 7, that's already broken the puzzle. So this being at least 1 bigger, this is 7, 8, 9 as well. Don't know. 5, of course, gave me a 6. Come on, sleuth. Therefore, this is a 9. These are not 9s. This is essentially completing the row with 1, 2, 7, or 8. Now, it can't be 8 because that would require a sum of 9 with a 1. I it can't be 1 either, because essentially it would have to be 7 with a 1 to get to 8, since 9 is not available, and then it would break this cell. So not a 7 either. And then we end up with a 1-2 pair, making this not 1. This is 7, this is 7, and this is 8. With a 4 in here, I think this is forced. Because essentially this has a degree of freedom. Because the minimum was 1, 2, 3 with a 1, that got me to 7, which is not what we're after. We're after a sum of 8. So either I'm adding 1 in here, as in it's 1, 2, 4 and 1, and the 4 obviously is not available, or it's 1, 2, 3 and a 2. And it has to be that, otherwise it's just not going to work. That's not 8. This is 7 or 9. This is not 3 or 2. That's just 1. Not 1, not 1. That's 2, 3. That's not 6, in fact. This is 7 or 8. And this is another 7 or 8. Now, actually 8 does work. But regardless, whether it's 7 or 8, this has to add up to 9. I can't get to 7 anymore. And that gives me a 9 in here. That gives me an unknown 7 or 8 in here. These 1, 2s are still not resolved, as far as I could tell. Figure that out later. Right, where do you go from here? I'm not too sure, actually. 7. Hang on, I've made a mistake somewhere with this pencil marking. I needed a 9 somewhere. What assumption? So, okay, clearly this is not going to be the 9. So that is the 9. Let me just, I'm sorry, I'm going to rewind a little bit. This wasn't a 9, because that 9, yeah, I'm fairly sure that's the only place for a 9. And that this 7 gave me an 8, which also gave me a 1, which gave me a 9 in here. I'm reasonably confident that these are solid deductions. Hasn't resolved the 2, 3. Now, unless this is 9, it's going to force a 9 in here, but I can't see how I can force any of that right now. 4 has to be in one of these 3 cells. Can't be this one, because the neighbors are not 1, 2, or 3, which are the only cells that would be smaller. So 4 is in one of these 2 cells. I feel like I'm slowing right down now. 8 has to be in one of these 3 cells, but it can't be next to this one because 9 is not available. So it's one of these 2. Given that can be 9, that can be 8. 9 is in one of these 3 cells, forcing a 9 in here, given the maximum, just Sudoku, because that can't be a 9 anymore. That can't be an 8 anymore. That's 8. Fairly unusual deductions once again. I don't know if that's, like, I feel like I'm jumping ahead rather than probably resolving easier things, so should probably take a second to think about that. Let's think about this. This is not 1 or 2 because that would require a 3. So can't be 3, can't be 4. I also don't think it can be 5 because 2, 3 and 1, 4 are not available. Can't be 6 and it can't be 9. So this is actually 7 or 8. This is fairly restricted. If it's 7, it's not 1, 6, it's not 3, 4, it's 2 and 5. And if it's 8, it's not 2, 6, it's not 3, 5, it's 1 and 7, and the 7 is in here, and this is the 1. So that's fully pencil marked, surprisingly. Don't know what this is. There's quite a few options in here still, so I'm going to ignore and move on. And I'm probably missing some easy Sudoku. I should do some more of that. 2, 3, 2, for example. 9 is not here, but 9 is certainly possible in here. Don't know, this feels like I'm off, we're on the wrong trail here. Are any of these forced? I don't think they are. 4 is in one of these 3 cells. 2 is in one of these 2 cells. In fact, that's just 2. Sort of missed that. 7 is not here. 7 is in one of these 2. This can still be 7, and then I'd hide the 8 in here. So not really forcing much. 7 is in one of these two cells. Again, not forcing much. Maybe this white KROPKI dot will help. So it's not 1, 2, 3, or 4. So this is 5, 6. Can't be 7. Can't be 8. And it can't be 9 because that would create a 9 in here, an 8 in there, and this can't be 9. So surprisingly, this is very restricted. 5, 6 in here gives me a few options. In fact, 8 and 9 tells me this is a maximum of 7. And the fact that this is a minimum of 5, no, it's a minimum of 4, pardon me, but for 5, technically I can get to 6 because from 5 I can go up to 6. But I think that's fully pencil marked now. I can't go 6, 7 because that can't be bigger. This presumably could be a bit smaller, but actually, again, 1, 2, 3, and 4 says that this is at least a 5, and therefore this is at least a 6. And again, this is another potentially 6 because that can go up to 7. So I end up with a very unusual 5, 6 pair. I guess not unusual in the sense that I can't put 7 or 9 in here because of this cell. So yeah, that is 7, 9. That's not a 9. That is a 9. 7 is none of these. Oh, 7 is already in the box, so ignore. 2 is not there. 2 is not here. That's... I've already got the 2. Come on, sleuth. 3 is none of these. 3 is none of these. That's 3. Let's just do simple Sudoku. I need 1, 6, and 8. Which looks all entirely achievable other than this 6. Am I right in saying that there has to be a 7 between these two cells? Looks that way, doesn't it? Because either it's 1 and 7 adding up to 8, or it's 2 and 5 adding up to 7. So I'm going to use that and say that 7 is in one of these two cells. Now, technically, I can make that a 7 with this and 8, so it's not forced to make a 7 in here just yet. This is not 6 because of the 5, 6 pair, and then essentially in here we've got 4, 7, and 1 or 8, but this is not 1. That's the 1. I'm really making this harder for myself by just not doing simple Sudoku. And this is 4, 7, or 8. Very obvious where the 8 has to go given the maximum. This is not 8 or 7. That's the 4. That's the 7. This is the 5, 7 or 9 in here. That's not resolved just yet. Okay. Not 2. This is 1, 3, not 2, not 4, not 5. Technically, I can go up to 6 because that could be 7. And that's all the options. So we kind of used this clue. We've used this clue. We've almost fully used this clue. We basically have, because 9 and 8 in here means, other than the fact that this can't be 7, we've basically got everything that we can out of it. We haven't really used the arrows yet. There you go, 2, 5, and 7. Meaning we know what these are. This is 1, 4, and 3. And this cell here, in fact, if we think about just the rest of this column for a second and just pencil mark that, we've got 1, 6, and 8. Clearly that is not the one. To get to something sensible here, that's got to be 6, that's got to be 8, that's the 1. None of these are 1, done. And other than this cell here, pretty much at this point we're just left with Sudoku. So can I get a reasonably smooth solve from here is the question. 1 is in one of these two cells. 9 is not there, that's 9. 1 is in here, 8 is in there. These two cells are known, they are 7 and 8. That's got to be the 8, it's the larger digit. These have to be 5, 6, and 9. That is not 9. We need a 1. Don't know why my scanning is really struggling so much today. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, looks good. Another 3, 4, 5, and then a 6. Can't place it. Another 3 or 4. Plus a 2, which I can place, which tells me 3, which says no 3s. 4, 5 pair, not resolved. That's Mrs. Sleuth coming home. 6 and 7. Huge. Yeah, that's quite loud. I can see it kind of the mic. Sorry, huge excitement in the Sleuth household, as you can see. That's 4, 5, and 6 triple. That's 3 and 9. That's the 9. That's the 3. That helps me with 4 and 3. That's not 9 either. That is 9. 5, 6, unresolved. In fact, not 6. Can't figure out what these are. We'll come back to that. 4 and 5 in here. Can't figure that out. All right. Let's do this. 3, 4, 5, or 6. Unresolved. I need a 7. This is presumably 5 or 6. It's not 6. That's 5. That's 6. That's 5. That's 4. That's 6. That's 4. That's 5. That was 6. That's 5. That's 6. That's 5. That's 4. That's 4. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's 8 for the finish. Yeah, it's a party in the Sleuth household whenever one of us comes back home, which is, I mean, what more can you ask for, really, in terms of happiness and excitement just by coming back home and showing up. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle in the video. Definitely let me know down in the comments around if I kind of understood that this is indeed American football and what it actually means. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.